Thanks, Carol. Well, thanks for all you folks who are sitting out here in the sun. I know it's not easy, but the good news is that it's not nearly as hot today as it has been throughout the summer, especially July, the hottest July on record in the United States. Look, I do want to start out with just one quick note, if I might, that is sort of strictly politics, but it's something that I've been working on a lot since I've been in Congress, and it's how I've run my campaigns, and I think it's really important to talk about sort of the political atmosphere in America right now and how it seems to be taking away from, I think, an honest and an open debate about the issues facing us, not only at the presidential level, at the congressional level, even at the state level. And, you know, we've witnessed some scenes here recently and other parts of America of what I would call, you know, some pretty nasty behavior, some incivility on the part of folks. And, you know, we see politicians getting that way with each other as well. And I just find that unacceptable myself. I've always tried to run my campaigns at a high level of civility, if you will. Yeah, I disagree with my opponent on issues, and I'll talk about that as I go forward here. And I'm sure he will as well when he's here later in the week. But the bottom line is, what I'm hearing from people in my district over and over and over again, whether they're Democrats or Republicans or don't identify with either party, is that they want politicians, they want leaders, they want members of Congress, they want the presidential candidates, they want them to sit down, talk about the issues across the table, eye to eye, and not call each other names, not be uncivil to each other, because the bottom line is, what we have to do is the people's work. We have to get things done. That's what I'm hearing over and over and over from my district. Now look, that doesn't mean we don't have differences, obviously, okay? But we can have those, we can air those differences in a civil way, and I think have a constructive dialogue about how to move the country forward. I mentioned the heat, I mentioned the differences. Look, we should have a farm bill right now. There's absolutely no doubt about it, folks. But as you know, a couple weeks back, the leadership in the House of Representatives sent me and every other member of the U.S. House of Representatives home, I think prematurely. Actually, there was a vote in the House, and it was a bipartisan vote against adjournment. More voted against adjournment than voted for it. In 2008, I voted against the Democratic Party's idea to adjourn because we had not done what we needed to do for the floods in Iowa, especially in my district, in the 2nd District. This time around, in 2012, I voted for adjournment against a different party's leadership, but that was because we didn't get a 5-year farm bill done, which needs to have a strong disaster component to it so that we can get our farmers back on their feet, those who are struggling, especially the livestock farmers, poultry farmers, and the cattle farmers, and some of the hog farmers as well. We've got to do that, folks. And I was sent home. I'm glad to be home. My wife Terry is here today. She's enjoying the state fair. She's from the Chicago area, and she loves the state fair, loves to come every year. But that's not the point. The point is that we've got to get the people's work done. And I can't do the people's work that I'm supposed to be doing there if I'm here. I'm glad to be here. Don't get me wrong. I want to be talking to my constituents. I come home every weekend. I listen to folks and do what I can to represent folks while I'm in Washington, D.C., and I have during the last 6 years. But we have really, really important things to do in this country. We've got the deficit. We've got the farm bill. We've got education policy. We've got all kinds of things that we have to be doing. But you know what, folks? Right now, the House of Representatives is scheduled to be in session for 13 days out of the next 83 days. 13. Most people I talk to don't think that's acceptable. So we've got to make sure that the business of the people gets done. Now, I mentioned bipartisanship. This is something that I've been trying to do since I've been in office. Someone asked me the other day, well, you know, you're in the majority, and you know, you didn't reach out to people on the other side of the aisle those first 4 years. Now you're in the minority. How do you expect to get anything done? Well, the bottom line is, when I was in the majority, I reached out to the other side of the aisle. I developed relationships, personal and otherwise, with people on the other side of the aisle. That's something that I have done since I've been in office. It's actually something my predecessor did. It's something that the people of the 2nd District of Iowa, and I think of Iowa, and I think now the American people, it's something they expect of us. So in 2010, when I offered my own work skills job bill, making sure that we fill the skills gap that we see out there, I had universal Republican support for that bill when it came to the floor of the House of Representatives in 2010. Now that I'm in the minority, I'm reaching out to those very same people, and now I'm able to get significant portions of that bill into the reauthorization of the Workforce Investment Act. And this is on a committee in which I serve, and again, I'm in the minority, but I'm able to work with the majority to do what I need to do for the people of Iowa, for the people of the country, so we can close what is a skills gap out there so folks can find jobs. That's what I've been doing, folks. Thank you. Remember, we have the issue here with the 132nd, the fighter wing, the F-16s, right?
Yeah.
That's a national defense issue.
Yes.
That is a jobs issue. That is a national security issue. It's an efficiency in government issue. That fighter wing, folks, is one of the most efficient, if not the efficient wings in America. Yet the administration wanted to cut it out. They wanted to reprogram them, have them do something else. I'm on the Armed Services Committee, folks. I led the charge with a Republican from California to make sure that we do everything we can to prevent those cuts from happening. They weren't the right thing to do. The Air Force never told us why they were doing them. They didn't give us a cost-benefit analysis. And the bottom line is, those jobs should stay there. Those folks should stay there. That wing should stay there because they are doing a fantastic job. I led the charge on the Armed Services Committee, again, with a Californian on a bipartisan basis, to make sure that we prevented that reprogramming and that cut from happening. And not just here, but all around the country. We need the Air Force to be accountable to us, folks. That's the bottom line. I was able to do that on a bipartisan basis.